Now, I want to backtrack into chapter 1 for just a minute.
Vratimo se malo na prvo poglavlje.
And I want to ask the question about what it means to be created in God's image.
Što znači biti stvoren na Božju sliku?
You want to read those verses, chapter 1, verse 26 through 31?
Znači, u postanku prvo poglavlje, 1:26.
Yeah, 126 through 31, I think.
I vidje Bog, i reče Bog, načinimo čovjeka na svoju sliku, sebi slična, da bude gospodar ribama morskim, pticama nebeskim i stoci, svoj zemlji i svim gmizavcima što puze po zemlji. Na svoju sliku stvori Bog čovjeka, na sliku Božju on ga stvori, muško i žensko stvori.
Yeah, before God makes man in chapter 1 and woman in chapter 1, God says, let us make them in our image.
Prije nego što je Bog stvorio muškarca i ženu, rekao je, stvorimo ga na svoju sliku.
What does that mean? Does that mean God has hair? God has nostrils and ears?
Šta to znači? To znači da Bog ima kosu, da ima nosnice, da ima uši.
Well, obviously God doesn't have hair, right?
Naravno da Bog nema kosu. Isto kao ni ja.
What does it mean? I think the story there in Genesis gives us a clue as to what it means to be created in God's image.
Dakle, mislim da nam samo prvo poglavlje daje jednu ideju što to znači biti stvoren na sliku Božju.
And that is when it shows God doing something in chapter 1 and then it shows us humans doing something in chapter 2 that's like what God did in chapter 1.
Znači, tu vidimo recimo jednu usporedbu. U prvom poglavlju je Bog radio nešto i onda smo u drugom poglavlju to isto radili mi ljudi.
You've got a chart there in the handouts. They're on the first page.
Imate jednu tablicu na prvoj stranici.
That has just a list of some of the things that God does in chapter 1 that the humans do in chapter 2.
I to vam je jedan popis onoga što Bog čini u prvom poglavlju i onda to isto ljudi čine u drugom poglavlju.
And it's the idea that because we do things like what God does,
I ideja je da pošto mi radimo stvari koje radi Bog,
we are in some special way like him.
Na taj poseban način smo mi kao on.
That doesn't mean that we're equal to him, obviously.
To naravno ne znači da smo mi Bogu jednaki.
Because we are created and he is eternal.
Jer smo mi stvoreni, a on je vječan.
But there are similarities between us and him.
Ali postoje sličnosti između nas i Boga.
So that we can bear his image.
Tako da mi možemo odražavati njegovu sliku.
So that we can act as his agents in ways that animals and plants can't.
Tako da mi možemo funkcionirati kao njegovi agenti, kao njegovi suradnici na način na koji biljke i životinje ne mogu.
So here's just a list of some of the similarities I see between chapter 1 and chapter 2.
Evo popis nekih sličnosti koje sam ja uočio u prvom i drugom poglavlju.
God has dominion over the things he creates.
Bog vlada onime što je stvorio.
But then God tells them to have dominion.
Ali onda Bog kaže čovjeku, ti ćeš vladati.
God creates and fills his creation.
Bog stvara i napunjuje ili popunjuje svoje stvaranje.
But then God tells Adam and Eve to fill the earth and multiply.
Ali onda kaže Adamu i Evi, vi napučite zemlju.
God creates things and then he does things to benefit his creation.
Bog čini stvari koje su na korist njegovog stvaranja.
So God is benefiting things outside of himself.
Dakle, on daje koristi nečemu što je izvan njega.
Adam is created to take care of the garden and make the garden
Adam je stvoren da se brine za vrt. Dakle, opet nešto izvan njega.
So he is working at something outside of himself.
Dakle, radi na nečemu što je izvan njega samog.
Both God and Adam name things.
I Bog i Adam daju imena stvarima.
And that doesn't end in chapter 2 because when they have children, they name their children.
I to ne završava u drugom poglavlju, jer kasnije, kada Adam i Eva dobiju djecu, oni imenuju svoju djecu.
In fact, I should look this up before I say it, but in fact, I think in chapter 4, verse 1, it's Eve that names her son Abel and Cain.
Nisam siguran, morao bi ovo provjeriti, ali mislim da u 4. poglavlju da je Eva ta koja je imenovala Kaina.
I think.
Mislim, nisam siguran.
They are social creatures. They need relationships.
Oni su društvena bića, trebaju odnose.
It's not that God needs relationships, but God is depicted as having a heavenly court that he is speaking to.
Ne možemo reći da Bog treba društvo, ali znamo da Bog je društvo, da se Bog voli obraćati publici.
And then God has relationship with Adam and Eve. They walk together.
Bog ima odnose sa Adamom i Evom. Oni hodaju zajedno.
And God is moral and Adam and Eve are moral.
Bog je moralan i Adam i Eva su moralni.
So, being created in God's image. What does that teach us about being human?
Znači, što stvoren na Božju sliku znači, što znači biti čovjek?
I want to suggest at least the following things.
Predlažem barem sljedeće.
Because we're human, we have dignity and value.
Pošto smo ljudi, imamo dostojanstvo, imamo vrijednost.
Dignity and value don't come from what you accomplish.
Dostojanstvo i vrijednost ne potiču od onoga što ste postigli.
Dignity and value don't come from how much power you have.
Ne potiču od toga koliko ste moćni.
Or how much wealth you have.
Ili koliko ste bogati.
There is something that gives us dignity and value simply because we're human.
Mi imamo dostojanstvo i vrijednost samim time što smo ljudi.
And we are created in God's image.
A stvoreni smo na Božju sliku.
That has all kinds of implications.
To ima raznovrsne implikacije.
That has all kinds of political implications for how you think about abortion.
To ima razne političke implikacije, recimo o tome kako razmišljate o abortusu.
Other people have dignity and value even if they are different from us.
Drugi ljudi imaju dostojanstvo i vrijednost iako su drukčiji od nas.
Even the people that we don't like.
Čak i oni ljudi koje ne volimo.
Even the people that we have never liked.
Čak i ljudi koje nikad nismo volili.
Even the people that we may be at war with.
Čak i oni ljudi s kojima ratujemo.
There is the image of God in that person as well.
U toj osobi protiv koje ratujemo i u njemu se nalazi slika Božja.
Because that person is human, they're created in the image of God.
Jer je i ta osoba čovjek stvoren na Božju sliku.
We are God's representatives.
Mi smo Božji predstavnici.
God wants us to live in the world.
Bog želi da živimo u svijetu.
So that when people look at us, they see his character.
Da kad ljudi gledaju na nas ili vide nas, vide njegov karakter.
Because we bear his image.
Jer smo mi na njegovu sliku.
We bear his name.
Mi nosimo njegovo ime.
Have you ever had anybody do something in your name that you didn't approve of?
Je li ikada neko napravio nešto u vaše ime, a vi se s tim niste slagali?
Maybe one of your children did something that you weren't happy with.
Možda je neko od vaše djece napravilo nešto s čime baš niste bili zadovoljni.
And you realize this doesn't just make them look bad, it makes me look bad.
A vi ste pomislili, ovo ne samo da on izgleda loše zbog toga ili ona, nego ja izgledam loše zbog toga što je moje dijete napravilo.
Or maybe you've been a supervisor or a leader in some role.
Ili ste možda bili neki nadglednik ili voditelj na nekom poslu.
And someone who is under your authority has done something that makes the whole group look bad.
I neko ko je pod vama je učinio nešto zbog čega cijela grupa izgleda loše.
That person is bearing your name.
Ta osoba nosi tvoje ime.
Or that person is bearing the same name that you bear because they're part of your group.
Ili nose isti naziv kao i ti zbog toga što su dio iste grupe.
Or part of your family.
Ili dio tvoje obitelji.
So, how do you think God feels when we who bear his name don't live like we bear his name?
Kako onda mislite da se Bog osjeća kada mi koji nosimo njegovo ime, kada se ne ponašamo onako kako treba?
God, the New Testament, it's in Ephesians. I don't remember where in Ephesians.
U Novom Zavjetu, u poslanici Efežanima, ne znam točno gdje.
There's a statement there that says God showed his grace to us.
Ima izjava koja kaže Bog je nama pokazao milost
so that we could live our lives as demonstrations, as examples of
kako
how
bi
good
mi
God
mogli
is.
naše živote živjeti u primjeru kako je dobar Bog.
Does anybody remember where that passage is?
Znali neko gdje je to u Efežanima?
Something about God showing us his infinite kindness. Never mind.
Nešto o tome da je Bog nama pokazao beskrajnu dobrotu.
I'll find it before next week. Or somebody can find it and give it to me after.
Ili ako neko može sada dok vodimo, može mi kasnije reći.
So, because we're his representatives, we have to live in ways that are consistent with his character.
I zato što smo mi njegovi predstavnici, mi moramo živjeti naše živote u skladu sa njegovim karakterom.
Savannah, did you find it? Are you looking for it?
I found the section in the beginning of chapter 2, not the section I was thinking about.
Yeah.
Maybe about we were dead in our transgression.
Yeah. I'll have to find it. It's marked in my Bible upstairs.
2:8, you're saved by grace.
It builds on that, but there's actually a statement where it says, I'll find it. Because we're his representatives, we haven't lived in a way that's consistent with his character, and then because we're his representatives, we're supposed to care for the things that he owns.
I zato što smo njegovi predstavnici, na nama je da se brinemo o stvarima čijih je on vlasnik.
Why are Adam and Eve put into the garden?
Zašto su Adam i Eva stavljeni u vrt?
To take care of it.
Da se brinu za vrt.
To water it and make sure things grow.
Da ga navodnjavaju, da provjeravaju da stvari dobro rastu.
Does the garden belong to them?
Pripada li vrt njima?
Who does the garden belong to?
Kome vrt pripada? Pripada Bogu.
Belongs to God. Clearly, yeah. And so we care for the things that God entrusts to us.
Znači mi se brinemo za stvari koje nam je Bog povjerio.
And we realize that everything really doesn't belong to us, it belongs to God.
I svjesni smo toga da ništa u stvari ne pripada nama, nego pripada Bogu.
A couple of other things from those verses.
Još neke stvari iz tih redaka.
We are not all the same.
Mi nismo svi isti.
Here it talks about how God created male and female in his image.
Ovdje piše kako je Bog stvorio muškarca i ženu na svoju sliku.
And they're different.
Ali oni su različiti.
Because they're male and female.
Jer oni su muško i žensko.
I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but men and women are not the same.
Ne znam jeste li primijetili, ali muškarci i žene su isti.
In spite of the things you see on the internet, men and women are not the same.
Bez obzira šta vidjeli na internetu, muškarci i žene nisu isti.
But it says both men and women are created in God's image.
Ali kažu da su i muškarac i žena stvoreni na sliku.
Now, Saint Augustine said about 1500 years ago.
Sveti Augustin je rekao prije 1500 neke.
And I'm going to oversimplify this just to get the quote.
A ja ću ovo malo pojednostaviti samo da parafraziram.
Saint Augustine said, men are created in God's image.
On je rekao da je muškarac stvoren na sliku Božju.
And women are created in man's image.
A da je žena stvorena na čovjekovu sliku.
That's not quite what he said, but it's close.
To nije točno što je on rekao, ali otprilike je to sažetak.
That's not what the text says.
To nije ono što kaže Biblija.
The text says male and female, he created them in God's image.
Tekst kaže i muškarac i žena su stvoreni na Božju sliku.
And then the final thing there, we are different from the animals and other created things because we bear God's image.
I mi smo drugačiji od biljaka i životinja zato što smo stvoreni na Božju sliku.
Now, God leaves hints of his character everywhere.
Bog ostavlja tragove svojih osobina svugdje po nama.
All of creation bears his fingerprints.
Ne samo po nama, nego i po cijelom stvaranju. Sve ima njegove otiske prstiju.
And we look at nature and we see God's character in nature.
Gledamo prirodu i vidimo Božje osobine u prirodi.
We see God's power in nature.
Vidimo Božju snagu.
We see God's beauty in nature.
Vidimo Božju ljepotu u prirodi.
We see the intricacy of God's planning in nature.
Vidimo zamršenost Božjih planova u prirodi.
Those are all God's fingerprints.
To su sve otisci Božjih prstiju.
But only one thing in creation bears God's image.
Ali samo jedna stvar ima Božju sliku.
And that's supposed to be us.
A to bi trebali biti mi.
And so we are higher than the rest of creation.
I time smo mi iznad ostatka stvaranja.
That's not something that we are supposed to abuse.
To nije nešto što bi trebali zlorabiti.
And we can abuse that.
A moguće je zlorabiti taj položaj.
When we forget that creation belongs to God.
Kad zaboravimo da stvaranje pripada Bogu, a ne nama.
Any comments so far?
Imate li komentara nekakvih do sada?
Zach?
Yeah. Just from my own background, I see there's a lot of tension immediately. Any human being that reads that we are in the image of God, immediately feel tension because it's such a high standard and have such little.
Iz mog iskustva, kada god neko čuje da su stvoreni na sliku Božju, to odmah stvara nekakvu napetost u nama, jer to pretpostavlja jako velike stvari koje trebamo ispuniti.
It's like it gives us something to aspire to that's much higher than what we can reach.
To je kao da moramo težiti nečemu što je previsoko da bi mogli dohvatiti.
It's so true because like so many movies and stories afterward are based on this one tension. That's such a high goal, but such little means to achieve it, and how human that is.
Yeah.
That tension we can see is also a really big part of it.
Znači imamo, često se proteže i kroz razne filmove i knjige ta ideja da je čovjek koji je toliko malen, a pred njega je postavljen cilj koji je toliko visoko, toliko nedostižno, ima toliko malo mogućnosti da to ostvari.
So the tension of wanting to be better than what we're able to be. Yeah, yeah.
You want them to succeed.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
wanting to succeed, but we, from outside of the story, know even before chapter 3,
Yeah.
feel in ourselves something
Yeah.
is going to happen.
Yeah, yeah, and that's kind of the universal story is.
Znači to je ta jedna univerzalna priča o tome kako čovjek se trudi da dosegne nešto.
The universal story is that things start off good and then they go bad.
Univerzalna priča ima tijek da sve nekako počne dobro i onda se u jednom trenutku počinje rušiti. Krene po krivu.
Why didn't he make it so we could just so easily and automatically?
Yeah, yeah.
That's something that humbles us and perhaps draws us even closer to God. It's failure.
Yeah.
Znači, Bog nas je isto tako mogao napraviti na način da mi sa lakoćom možemo biti kao Bog. A on nas nije takva stvorio. Stvorio nas je da težimo, da se trudimo, da bude napor da se do toga dođe.
That's a great point. Hang on to that because I think you'll have another minute. In a minute, you're going to be able to talk about that a little bit.
Nek ti ostane to u mislima, jer mislim da ćeš imati još nešto o tome reći.
Yeah.
I want a question.
Yeah.
Imam pitanje.
Your opinion, and that is, what would you say opinion that woman was not primarily first mean of creation? Like in a Genesis chapter 2, it says that God first created a man.
Dakle, koje je tvoje mišljenje o tome da žena nije stvorena prvo? Dakle, Biblija kaže da je prvo stvoren muškarac.
And then woman was created when he saw a man alone.
I onda je žena stvorena kada je Bog vidio da je čovjek sam.
So why would God first just create a man and just then recently change his mind and just created a woman?
Yeah.
Zašto je Bog prvo stvorio muškarca i onda ko da se predomislio, pa rekao, aj dobro, stvorit ćemo onda i ženu.
The logic of the story.
He had a good comment.
Yeah.
He said, when he created us, he saw what we looked like.
That's the best answer I can come up with. So,
Milane, ovo je najbolji odgovor.
I'm not sure what your first question was about the mean of creation.
Yeah, I'm still referring to where Saint Augustine going, and that is, was the woman really created in the image of man because she was took out of his rib, and just for his purpose, because it looks like man was created for God's purpose. Woman was created for man.
Znači, to je ono što mi se čini, onaj smjer u kojem je išao Sveti Augustin, a to je da je da je čovjek stvoren na Božju sliku i za Božje potrebe, a da je žena stvorena za čovjekove potrebe.
I think the logic of the story is that God wanted Adam to realize that he needed a helper.
Mislim da je logika priče i redoslijeda je da je Bog htio da Adam shvati da mu je potreban pomoćnik.
You would never argue that God didn't know that he was going to create a woman.
Mislim da ne stoji argument da Bog nije znao da će stvoriti ženu.
Or that God didn't realize that Adam wouldn't be sufficient by himself.
Ili da Bog nije odmah shvatio da Adam neće biti dovoljan, pa se kasnije predomislio.
I think part of the image of the woman being created from his side
mislim da dio cijele slike da je žena stvorena od Adamovog rebra
is that they belong together, this sense that they belong together.
To je nekakva slika da pripadaju jedno uz drugo.
Looking at the rest of the creation story, and last week or a couple weeks ago, you talked about how he makes each part of creation and he prepares a place for them before he brings creation.
Znači, gledajući širu sliku i kako smo pričali o tome da je Bog svo stvaranje napravio u nekakvom skladu i da je nešto pripremio, pa onda u to nešto drugo stavio.
And that kind of seems like it's continuing, that it's becoming, as we're made in God's image, then we also have the need for being social creatures rather than anything else. So it's like continuing that, and we need more care in more areas than the other.
Nisam ovo nešto skroz shvatio, ali poanta je u tome da smo mi stvoreni kao društvena bića i da smo stvoreni za odnose, dakle da je to dio toga.
Okay. I don't think we should have the picture that God made man and then God sat back and said, golly, he needs a partner.
Mislim da je pogrešno razmišljati o tome da je Bog stvorio čovjeka i onda rekao, joj čovječe, zaboravio sam ženu. Znači, to se nije desilo.
God wasn't surprised by that.
Boga nije iznenadilo to što Adam nije bio dovoljan.
All right. Here's just kind of a summary of the things we've seen about being human.
Evo sažetka onoga o čemu smo pričali, tko smo mi, ljudi.
And I don't think there's anything new there. We've spent enough time on all of those.
Mislim da tu nema ništa novo, to smo već sve prošli.